Hey there, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Lion Collectibles. It's Friday, so it's our fight picks and card show. And boy, do we have an exciting fight card tomorrow. UFC 281 at the Madison Square Garden in New York City. Israel Adesanya defends his belt against Alex Pereira in the middleweight division. And Carla Esparza will defend her bantamweight women's title against Weili Zhang. Can't wait to jump into all the fights on the main card, but first, we need to recap how we did last weekend. Last weekend was UFC Fight Night 214, Rodriguez versus Lemos. We picked 3 fights on that card because we're trying to tighten up the record. Unfortunately, we went 1-2, not the performance that we were looking for. We got our first win of the day with Grant Dawson. He looked amazing in his fight against Marco Madsen. Marco Madsen was an former Olympic wrestler, and Grant Dawson used grappling to really control the fight and take the fight where he wanted to go. Madsen didn't have anything for him in the striking aspect of the fight, and Dawson was able to land there. I think the big thing that was really impressive is just how Grant Dawson was able to dominate in the grappling division section of the fight against Marco Madsen. So great win for Grant Dawson. It started us off on the right foot. He's got a lot of potential in the division. We can't wait to see who he fights next. Unfortunately, we went on a 2-fight losing streak to close the night out. In the co-main event, it was Daniel Rodriguez versus Neil Magny. Great fight. It was back and forth in the first first half of the second round. I thought Daniel Rodriguez was doing good. He was looking like he was landing better shots. He was defending a lot of the clinch work and grappling work that Magny was trying to impose on him. But it was all about the gas tank, as it almost always is with Neil Magny. Magny was able to keep the pressure up. Rodriguez started to look tired as time went on, and eventually it got into a situation where he found himself on his back, and he was eventually getting subbed by Magny. Great win for the veteran Magny, keeps himself relevant in the division. Can't wait to see who he fights next. In the main event, the fight started the way that we thought it might. Marina Rodriguez was kind of dancing around Lemos, landing a little bit of the more crisper strikes. Lemos, was coming forward and putting pressure on Marina, so everything was looking good. I thought we won the first round, and then boom, in the second round, we took a big hit. And Lemos, beautiful combo, and she's one of the most powerful women in the division, so not super surprising, but she was able to put Marina Rodriguez away with a flurry of punches, and that left us with 1-2. So unfortunately, our new record now is 8-12. Not where we want to be. It's not acceptable, frankly. We got to tighten it up again. So as you know, we tightened last weekend to 3 picks. Today, and for UFC 281, we are only going to pick 2 picks. We got to be accurate with 2 picks. So let's go ahead and jump into the fights and talk about them. UFC 281, Adesanya versus Pereira at the Madison Square Garden in New York City. Madison Square Garden, it's one of the most historic fighting venues there is. We want to jump in, starting at the bottom of the main card. You have Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. Dan Hooker, the Hangman, he is a fan favorite, always in an exciting fight. He's fought the who's who of the division at lightweight. Even got as high as being in the contender spot, but has fallen short and hasn't challenged for the title. Recently, he did take a weight cut down to try out the featherweight division. It didn't go too well for him, and so he is now back at lightweight, where he says he feels great. Dan Hooker, he's a striker, make no doubt about it. He's from that city kickboxing team. They're all excellent strikers, and so he has long limbs, good jabs, kicks. Look for him to put pressure on Puelles and get into a dogfight. I mean, that's really how he battles. Puelles is definitely the younger of the two, and the guy that's kind of making his way up in the UFC. He's on a 4-fight win streak, and he's dangerous everywhere. He can strike, but he's also looked really, really good in submissions. He had a really slick knee bar against Clay Guida in his last fight. So this is going to be a banger. I think Hooker has a lot of mileage and tread on the tires, unfortunately. He's taken a lot of damage. I think he still got what it takes to compete at the top level, but I just don't know, if he's going to be able to get past, a young up-and-coming guy. Also, I think there's probably a disadvantage to Hooker in the grappling versus Puelles. So if this fight goes to the ground, I think he's going to be in danger. I only have cards for Dan Hooker. Puelles is a rookie in the 2022 season, but I don't have any of his cards yet. So I have both of Dan Hooker's cards. They are his base. Pretty cool little pre-fight picture of him here. These are the concourse levels, so the most base. And then the difference between them is what kind of packs you buy. So this is a retail blaster. So the blue is for the blasters that you buy at the store at your Target or what may have you. And then this silver is when you buy a hobby pack. The hobby packs are more expensive, but they have better stuff in it. And so that's the kind of the two differences there. I will be probably rooting for the Hangman. But again, if I had to put my money on somebody, it's probably Puelles. Next fight is a real emotional one. I think for anybody that's been watching the UFC for quite some time, it is Frankie the Answer Edgar versus Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. To say that I'm a fan of Frankie Edgar isn't really saying enough. I wouldn't say that he's always ever been my favorite fighter, but it has been an absolute pleasure watching this guy's career. This is his final fight. He's already kind of let everybody know he's going to retire after this. Frankie Edgar, what can you say? He's a former lightweight champion, defended his belt. He won it from arguably the greatest lightweight of all time at the time, which was BJ Penn, over two, really back and forth and closely contested fights. If you haven't watched his fights, the next two title defenses against Gray Maynard, I can't stress enough that was our important fights for you to watch, so you can see, it was just history. Frankie Edgar in both fights took big damage from Gray Maynard early, and I mean damage that looked like the fight should be stopped, but Frankie was all heart and fought his way back in both of those. First fight was a draw. Second one, he fought his way back and KO'd Gray Maynard. One of the loudest I've ever cheered for a win for somebody. Frankie's kind of tall, kind of small. He's a quick boxer, leg kicks, moves a lot. Just awesome guy to watch fight, and even for being small, he's always been a dominant fighter in the division. Did lose his titles to Ben Henderson. He's challenged for the title 3 times at featherweight, losing twice to Jose Aldo and once to Max Holloway. So he's a legend in the division for these smaller guys. But he has fallen on tough times. He's lost his last 2. Most notably, a pretty nasty knockout against Corey Sandhagen, flying knee that was kind of rough. And like I said, he's letting everybody know that his time has come to an end after this fight. Chris Gutierrez is someone that I really like. Really one of the most deadly leg kickers of the lower division. He just systematically lands really good leg kicks. He's got crisp boxing. Not really like a knockout puncher, but just adds up damage with heavy leg kicks. And I really like him. I can't root for him. I have to root for Frankie Edgar. But Chris Gutierrez really is the future. I think he's going to be around much longer. I think if I'm not betting emotionally, I'm probably going with El Guapo, with Gutierrez. But I'm a man that goes with my heart, and I'm going to be cheering for this one on Saturday night and giving all the best energy I can to Frankie the Answer Edgar. What a career, and I hope he caps it off tomorrow night. I hope he gets a big win. I only have one card of Frankie Edgar. I actually have one that I won on Whatnot the other day. I'll have to show it on the recap next week. That's really cool. It's a patch card of his. So I only have his 2022 Select Mezzanine card here. This is a silver from a hobby pack. It's kind of a mid-action punch there from him. But that's all I got for Mr. Edgar. But again, really pulling for the answer. The guy is all heart. Let's get one more win before he sails off into the sunset. Next fight is what I like to call the first part of the triple main event. You don't really see those very often, but if there was ever a fight that was a third main event, it would be this one. You got Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Iron Mike Chandler. Can't wait for this fight. It's going to be a banger fight. There's a little bit of bad blood that's been going on between these guys, and they're just staples of the division, and they both bring it every time they fight. You got Michael Chandler, who's coming off one of the craziest knockouts over Tony Ferguson a few months ago. It was a great fight back and forth. He threw a beautiful up kick and really he hit the foot to Tony Ferguson, knocked him out cold. Chandler's super explosive. He's a little bit shorter for the division. He likes to close distance and get in close. He throws haymakers and bombs. Can wrestle. It does have a wrestling background, but typically doesn't use it probably as much as he should. But he's going to be looking to close the distance on Poirier. And, I mean, the guy has not been in an unexciting fight since joining the UFC. On the other side of the cage, you got Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Dustin's career has been super, super cool to watch. He's a former champion in the division. He did his most recent fight, he did lose to Charles Oliveira, lose the title to Charles Oliveira. But the guy, again, you know what you're getting with Dustin Poirier. You're getting some of the best boxing in the division, some of the greatest cardio in the division, and the guy that can really just lay it on guys and kind of creates a lot of opportunity for himself to put guys away. So, you know, these two profiles of fighter, it cannot be a boring fight. Prediction-wise, I'm actually going to side with Michael Chandler on this one. Not an official pick because we're only going to pick the two main fights, but I just think Michael Chandler, he's got a lot of momentum rolling with him. The win over Tony Ferguson was huge. I think he's got maybe a little bit less tread on the tire than Poirier. Poirier's been through a lot of wars. Poirier's kind of, it sounded like after his last fight when he lost to Oliveira that he wasn't sure about retiring. Not questioning whether or not his heart's fully in it. I believe it is. I just think the momentum is kind of riding with Chandler. As far as boxing goes, pure boxing has to go to Poirier. I don't see Chandler being better than Poirier in a prolonged boxing fight, but in that early rounds, early in the first, early in the second, when Chandler has all of his explosion, I think he can definitely catch Dustin, hurt him, and kind of change the dynamic of the fight. Don't expect much wrestling. Don't expect much kicking. This is going to be a brawl between these guys, and I just can't wait to see who goes down. I think it's going to be Chandler with his hand raised. I got cards for both of these guys. I like them both, so I figure I want to show, and I got a lot of cards of them. So first we're going to do Dustin Poirier. This is his 2022 Prism card. It's a horizontal, kind of a cool action shot there against Conor McGregor. So pretty cool little card there. We got this purple Recon. This is a Chronicles Recon from 2022. It's not a special card or anything like that. Just thought it was kind of cool. And Chronicles always has kind of different styles for their cards. So nice one there. This is his silver base. So the silver is because it has that rainbow shimmer on there, kind of the holographic. So this is his rainbow, this is his silver base select card, 2022. And then I pulled this insert card in a Prism, which I thought was pretty cool. It's Dustin Poirier Prism. Just kind of an insert. It's just one of the special cards that they put in the Prism packs. Not super valuable or anything like that, but I like it. Pretty clean. So that's Dustin Poirier. Then I got Michael Chandler. I really think I've built a collection of Michael Chandler that's pretty cool. So this is his season ticket. This comes out of the 2021 Chronicle or 2022 Chronicles. Kind of bakes like a ticket. It's cool. It's got kind of like a little perforated edge that theoretically you could rip off. This is a silver. This is not a base. This refractor or this reflective in the back is a silver. So kind of cool. This is also a silver base of his 2021 select. So this is a year ago. I just thought these were really cool. They didn't keep this exact style in 2022, but pretty cool card there. Won this on a whatnot. One of the first packs that I ever pulled was this pink parallel Michael Chandler in a Blasters box. This is an Optic card as well, Optic Don Rust. This set technically hasn't come out yet, but Chronicles kind of puts together a few brands. So Optics is out in the middle of December, and so people are going to have the opportunity to pick this up at that time. This is a pink parallel. I just think it's a cool looking card. The pink is just kind of tough. Nice picture of him with the American flag. This is a silver Prism horizontal of him. It's got that nice rainbow refractor there. Then I have this Illusions Michael Chandler. This is out of 199, so it's number 98 out of 199. Pretty cool little card there. And my last one, the most valuable one I think I have of them. This is the 2022 Select Autograph Series of Michael Chandler in red. So pretty cool card there. I just think this is a guy that's going to be around. It's out of 99, so a lower print. I just think he's going to be around for a little while. I think he picks up the win over Poirier. and maybe, is in line to fight Islam Makhachev. In the co-main event, we have Carla Esparza defending her women's bantamweight title against Weili Zhang. Carla Esparza took the title from Rose Namajunas earlier this year. Unfortunately, it was one of the most boring fights you will ever see. Do not go watch it. Carla's a strong wrestler and looks to land good ground and pound, and her striking has been getting better. It's not that her striking's dangerous by any means, but she's getting more competent at defending strikes and being able to stay in good boxing range and then work for her takedowns, work for the clinch where she does well. She's going up against Weili Zhang, who I think the general consensus by everyone is probably going to smash her. Zhang has just looked so tough since she's come into the division. She's small, she's really muscular for a woman, and she hits hard. I mean, watching the UFC embeddeds of her hitting pads is ridiculous. I mean, harder than men. Pop, pop, pop. So she can box, she can wrestle. She's a former champion. She did lose to Rose by a flash knockout and then a decision loss. But since then, she fought Joanna Jezhedrick and KO'd her with a dirty spinning back fist and was really kind of beating her up before. Bottom line here in this fight, Esparza needs to take the fight to the ground, and not only take it to the ground, she needs to hold it there on the ground, because every minute that she's standing on the feet with Weili can land a big shot, hurt her, and put Carla in a position where she can't get a takedown and can't deal with the strikes. Power advantage goes to Weili, wrestling advantage goes to Carla. It's all about who's going to impose their will. Can Carla pull a huge upset like she did against Rose and create a striking fight, create a grappling fight and win? Or is Weili gonna hurt her, put pressure on her, and take the belt back to China? I think Weili is gonna be the winner of the fight. I think it's a no-brainer. It's our first pick of the night. She is going to establish her dominance really, really early with Carla. And it's going to be pick your poison. Shoot in on me over and over again until I stop your takedowns and really start hurting you. Or it's going to be a KO violently. I just think Weili's the future of the division. And she's poised to become, a worldwide superstar with a big performance this weekend. I have one card for Carla. She's the champ. It is a base, not someone I collect. But this is her base Prism. Nice little picture of her happy post-fight with a win. I don't have anything super valuable of Weili, unfortunately. Weili is something that someone who the collectors are really trying to hold because she's got a ton of potential. But I do have some of her base cards and some stuff I want to show you from her. Panini make two different types of cards that are kind of cool. They're these crown cards. So one of these is her 2021 crown card. It's kind of got this what's called a die cut. Pretty cool little card there. And then this is her 2022. They added kind of the red behind it. Probably not as cool a picture of her, but they're just cool kind of cards. They look different, and I do believe they make these numbered. I just don't have any. This is her 2021 Chronicle Score card. Nice little action shot. This is her XRP. That is not a cut. That's just the little thing there. Cool little holographic there. I love these cards. They're the Illusions Black. Just kind of a cool way they make them. Not extremely valuable, but I think they're cool looking. This is another kind of version of that. This is a cool one here. Action shot, Illusions. I got the newer version season ticket for her. Kind of cool. Little insert. This is her Legacy card. I think these ones are super cool in a bunch of the different fighters that I collect. I've kept them. This is base, so nothing special, but kind of looks like an old school card. I love this card. It's called the Origins series. These are beautiful cards, almost like a painting. I want to start collecting some of these and get some of these graded. I think it's cool. And then one more season ticket. And we'll finish off with her 2022 Select base card. I love these Selects, man. They're just super cool. First pick of the night, Weili Zhang, win over Carla Esparza. Last but not least, we have the main event. The middleweight title is on the line. Israel Adesanya defends his title against Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, he is a former Glory kickboxing champion in both the middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. Has a storied kickboxing career and then made his transition over to MMA a few years ago. He's 3-0 in the UFC and is getting a title shot relatively quickly, but it's because of the backstory that he has with Adesanya. Adesanya has just taken the UFC by storm since he's come into the division. He's beaten the who's who, climbed the ladder the right way, beat Anderson Silva, beat Derek Brunson, beat in a great fight against Kelvin Gastelum back and forth. 2 wins over Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker, which I really consider probably one of the best guys in the world, pound for pound. And then got a big win over Paulo Costa, as well as his most recent outing against Jared Cannonier. Now, I was there in person. It was one of the coolest walkouts I've ever seen. He modeled it after the great Undertaker walkout with purple lights and everything. Super cool. Israel's all about style, and his striking is second to none. He's a pinpoint striker, doesn't wing up on huge punches, uses his legs to keep distance. But the big backstory here and why Pereira is getting to the top of the list is that Pereira holds 2 wins over Israel Adesanya. He holds a knockout win over Adesanya. They've showed it plenty of times. He knocked Adesanya out cold, but it was years ago. Does that thing ever go away? No, it's always there in your mind. But this is a new time. They both have grown, and it's going to be super exciting to see how this fight plays out now. My prediction for the fight. Honestly, I just haven't seen enough of Pereira to really know what his full breadth of skills is. I know he's a knockout artist. I've seen him throw flying knees. He's got probably one of the most dangerous left hooks that I've seen. Like, it's just one of those things that puts men down. That's how he finished his last fight. He's got a really, really dirty left hook, and it's how he knocked out Israel Adesanya. But I haven't seen much of his grappling game. One of his fights against Bruno da Silva, he did kind of defend some a little bit, but he looked like he was getting tired. It was close to me. What we do know is that Adesanya has all of the tools. He did get out wrestled by Jan Blachowicz when he went up in weight, but for the most part, he can defend takedowns. He's improving in that area all the time. Most men aren't able to take him down, and his striking has just been something that no one who's fought him so far has really been able to figure out, except all of those years ago against Pereira. So, my prediction for the fight and our second pick of the night, Israel Adesanya. I think Adesanya, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the personality, but I am a fan of the fighting, and I am a fan of the confident mindset, and he's growing on me, and I think he's going to be around for a while. I think it's going to be tough for a lot of different people in that weight class to figure the striking out and be able to put it all together to take rounds off of him. I think if he was going to lose, it's probably to a guy like Pereira, right? A guy that can strike with him, that's not going to be afraid to mix it up. So I think there is definitely danger here, but I'm going to ride with Adesanya. I think he's just shown that he's a complete fighter and that he's got really exciting striking. I think he's got the experience. He's been the title holder for quite some time. Like, a lot of pressure on him, but I think more pressure on Alex. I think he's getting a step up really, really quick. Not to say he can't handle it, but I think there's just things that are going in favor this time around for Israel Adesanya, and so we're going to ride with Adesanya. Those are our 2 picks, Israel Adesanya and Weili Zhang. I got a couple cards only of Israel. There's no cards out yet of Pereira. So we'll start from kind of the lowest to the highest. So I got this one right here. This is a pink parallel of his score card. If you notice, that is kind of like a parallel. It's an insert card that they put in there. Kind of plain looking card though. This is a select insert. They called them numbers, and it was just to show like big moments in their career. So I forget which fight this is here. It's probably on the back. I don't want to have time to read it, but he had 4 knockdowns in the fight, so that was a historic moment. This is his Prism card. Prism insert, champion. Now we get to the good stuff. This is a Silver Disco Select 2022 Octagon side. They call these case hits. These are a big card for when you pull these. Obviously, you have a champion. It's nice. Not numbered. They do have numbers, so it's not extremely rare, but it is technically a hit. It's a cool card. Really beautiful. Then we got his red Panini Flux. Chronicles Flux from 2022. It's numbered out of 199, so it is a shorter print. I just think kind of cool. I like these Flux cards. They're all kind of got this blue hue on them, but it's just kind of cool. I have this Prestige 2022 blue parallel. So if you notice, not all the time are these colors blue on the handwriting here. This one I thought was numbered. It is numbered. It's numbered out of 99 is what the number is there. Kind of a cool action shot. And then my pride and joy of my Izzy personal collection. This is an Izzy Auto, not an Izzy Auto, it's an Izzy Memorabilia 2022 Select. Super cool card. I love these memorabilia cards. They're really thick. Just a cool, freaking cool card. Give it a little rub here for his good luck. But yeah, this is a fighter worn material, so it's a memorabilia. So that's going to do it for our fight picks and cards, UFC 281. Let's go ahead and recap here. We are going to, if I had to lean, I'm going to say Claudio Puelles versus Dan Hooker. I'm going to say Chris Gutierrez versus Frankie Edgar, but we are going to be pulling for Frankie Edgar. And then I would say Michael Chandler is going to get a win over Dustin Poirier. Those are not official picks. Those are just where I'm leaning. And then we have our two fight picks. We are taking Weili Zhang to take the title from Carla Esparza. And then we are taking Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, to defend his title against Alex Pereira. I hope everybody enjoys the fights. Let me know down in the comments if you have picks that are different than mine. And have a good one. I'll see you next time.